Fantastic. Well, welcome from all of us at Emory University. We are just really excited to do a welcome for our students from all over the world. And this is actually the first session that we're hosting for our students outside the United States. We are really excited to have all of you join us. My name is Giselle Martin. I'm the Director of Recruitment and Talent in the Office of Admission. And first, let me extend our warmest congratulations to all of you for your admission to the university. It was a banner record year of the brightest minds. And for us, quite frankly, to see all of you and hear your thoughts, I was telling a colleague recently that it's like reading our favorite stories in your applications and then actually getting to meet our favorite characters, which is all of you. So this is really a joy to experience this morning. As you heard, as you were coming into this session is being recorded. And we thank you in advance for those of you that have shared with us some questions. We have a wonderful panel of colleagues across the university, as well as current students that come to us from England to Brazil to India. And so they're here to answer your questions. If you have access to, and you should, the chat feature, please feel free to place in the chat any questions that you might have throughout our time together today. And we will try to get through all the questions that you have with our panel. There is no question that is off the table. Like we kind of shared in the session overview, we really want this time for you to, discuss what is top of mind and how can we help you really explore your opportunities and your options at Emory and in Atlanta and beyond. So this is really a time for you all. So with that, why don't we go ahead and actually have the panelists introduce themselves. I will go ahead and call you by name so that you could give an overview of who you are and what you do at Emory. And if you could actually share a little bit of what brought you to Emory, or more importantly too, what keeps you at Emory. And we can go ahead and do that. If we could kick that off actually with my colleague, Jatan Davis, who will be monitoring all your chat questions. Jatan, take it away.
Thank you, Giselle. Good morning. My name is Jatan Davis, and I'm an Associate Dean of Admission at Emory University. And I also oversee recruitment and admission for the continent of Africa. And I am almost 2 years into my time at Emory University. I love the university because it focuses on the liberal arts, and it's really one that encourages students to find their own true voice and speak it out. We have a open freedom of expression policy on campus, and that's something that it just really speaks to me.
Fantastic, thank you. And Amber.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amber Cordell. I'm the Associate Director of Programming and Support in the International Student and Scholar Services. And I've been here for 6 months, since October 1st, but I was at a different institution for about 12 years and then somewhere else before that. I'm originally from Mississippi, and I was up north in the cold for 12 years. And so I definitely wanted to come back to warmer weather as well as closer to my family. But also, I personally went to small private institutions for my undergraduate and graduate studies. And so I really wanted to be back at this type of institution, working with international students and scholars.
Excellent, thank you. We're so happy to have you, Amber. Amber didn't mention this, but she is also a fabulous musician. Meg.
Hi, everyone. My name is Meg Popeck. I'm the Associate Director for Client Services and International Students and Scholar Services, commonly referred to as ISSS. I've been at Emory since summer of 2018. Previous to that, I was living in New York. And similar to Amber, I needed to flee the cold and be closer to family. So we moved back to Atlanta. And what keeps me at Emory is definitely a really great group of students, passionate and smart and hardworking, as well as great colleagues.
Excellent, thank you. Speaking of great colleagues, why don't we move on over to our colleagues from the Office of Undergraduate Education, Frank Gardner.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's fun seeing names and seeing some faces. As Giselle said, I'm Frank Gardner. I'm the Associate Director of Academic Advising in the Office for Undergraduate Education. And that long name basically means we provide academic support to students who are in the college. Everything that we can think of to try to help you. I, along with Jason Ehrenzeller, who's coming up next, we oversee the Academic Fellows Program, which all three of the students who are on our panel are members of. We also oversee the International Student Welcome. And then we also do academic advising, general academic advising for all international students while they're in Emory College. And so if you choose to stay within the college, not go to the business school, although the business school is a great place. If you stay in the college, then Jason or I will be your academic advisor all the way through until graduation. I have been at Emory since before any of you were born, almost even as far back as Giselle and Scott, honestly. I came here in the summer of 1993 after I got my master's degree, and I have never left. I have found such a home here at Emory, and I've only been working with international students for the last 6 years. So this is a relatively new part of my time at Emory, but this is absolutely my favorite job I've ever had. I'm so excited to see your faces, and I can't wait for you to get to campus. We're going to do our very best to make this the best experience that you can imagine for college.
Fantastic. And one of the perks of coming to Emory is Frank loves to take the students to our local Rise and Dine.
I do.
Wonderful breakfast lunch spot in the Emory Village. And so that's a treat, and I think a highlight for a lot of the students that Frank works with. Jason.
Thank you both for that lovely transition. And Frank also loves to take colleagues to Rise and Dine too, which is another fantastic perk of working alongside Frank. So as Frank mentioned, I am an academic advisor in Office for Undergraduate Education, or OUE, in our many acronyms, where we advise all international students in the college. This is actually the beginning of my journey at Emory as a professional, as part of staff. I graduated Emory College in 2017, where I majored in Spanish and International Studies. And for me, Emory has always felt like a home, not even a home away from home. Just this fantastic place where everyone is sort of able to achieve their best self. There's a plethora of academic and extracurricular resources to really discover and engage with your interest. And at Emory is where I found that core interest set of working across different cultures and got to study and live in different corners of the globe. And I'm blessed to come back now as staff and work with all these fantastic students. So we're very excited to get to meet you all soon.
Excellent. And while not officially on the panel, he is, like Frank said, a little bit of an Emory institution. So Scott, do you mind actually introducing yourself as in the marble of the Emory Quad?
I
know. I created my own background with Emory marble. So good morning, everyone. Glad you're here, and it's good to hear and see you after reading all those applications. As Giselle said, I'm Scott Allen. I'm Vice Dean of Admission. I have been here at Emory entering my 33rd year. So you might say he doesn't remember why he came to Emory. I do, because why I came remains as true today as ever, and that really is the values of the institution. it is a community, it's a caring place, and you feel it every day when you're on campus, and we have felt it during these extraordinary times as well. So we are eager to invite you into that community, and we already have. We're eager to see you join the community, and in the office I do a lot of things, but I read files from East Asia. So welcome, glad you're here. Thank you, Giselle.
Fantastic. And then last but not least, our wonderful current Emory students. If we could actually start with our Ruby, our first year.
Yeah, hi guys, my name's Ruby. I'm a freshman, so I haven't even been at Emory a year yet, which is kind of crazy. I'm from Worcester in England. I know Frank and Jason because I work in the Office of Undergraduate Education with them. I'm a student ambassador. I'm also involved in Matriculate, where I advise low-income high school students and help them apply to college. I'm also in the Honor Society for first years. As Frank was saying, I'm an academic fellow. This is going to be my first year doing it, so I'm really excited to start that and welcome international students on campus. Why I chose Emory, I was part of a program in the UK that helps low-income students apply to America. Emory was one of the partner schools, so that is like on the base level how I discovered it. But what really attracted me to Emory was the amount of diversity there is. There's a relatively big international student population compared to a lot of US universities. And I think Emory is just really engaged with students and also with the Atlanta community. And I'd never visited Emory before I came in August, but as soon as I got here, I just knew it was the right place for me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ruby. And for those of you that are just joining us, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. We are in the midst of introducing our student panel, and our students are current students from around the world, literally, and we'll get to hear a little bit more about them, and we will essentially go straight to your questions after we finish up with introductions. But thank you so much for being with us at Emory this morning, or this evening, wherever it may be for you. Niharika, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Niharika. I'm a current third year at Emory University. I'm from Mumbai, India, which is actually where I am, so it's good evening from me. I am majoring in neuroscience and behavioral biology, and I'm also doing a minor in economics. Mostly at Emory, I've been really involved with research. So I've been a fellow at the Research Partners Program, at the Summer Undergraduate Research Experience, and recently this semester I was awarded the Independent Research Grant from the undergraduate research program. So I'm really excited about that. I've been working in a research lab for behavioral neuroscience at the Yerkes National Research Primate Center, which is a partner institution of Emory, which is one of the many perks of being at Emory, is that you have a lot of partner institutions, especially in biosciences, which is what I'm interested in. And outside of that, I'm really involved with the international community since my very first year. I am an academic fellow captain. This is my second year as an academic fellow captain, and before that I was also an academic fellow, which is how I know Jason and Frank. I've worked with Frank for 3 years now, which has been really amazing. I'm also the vice president of the events committee in the International Student Leadership and Advocacy Board, which is a student-run executive board for international student programming and advocacy, and we work very closely with ISSS. So I've worked a lot with Amber over this year. And why I came to Emory. I chose Emory because throughout my school years, I have always been interested in not just one subject, but a sort of plethora of subjects. I wanted to study economics and science, but also literature and humanities. And I felt that at Emory, which is, it's a sort of medium-sized liberal arts college, but it also has these amazing connections for me, especially with research institutions. So you have like the small community of really closely connected students, but also these amazing academic and career sort of opportunities, which is why I chose Emory.
Fantastic, wonderful. Thank you so much. And you're right, the diversity of Emory, particularly in the global arena, is something that, keeps me here, because I feel like, and so many of my colleagues and students just really value that global perspective in the classroom. And just in the first year class this year, we admitted students from 110 countries. And there were students that were educated in over 75 different nations. And typically our first year class is about 17 to 18% from overseas. And so you really get that sense that you are learning inside the classroom, in the residence hall, and on the quad, if you will, from a truly global-minded population at Emory, which is really quite special. For those of you that are joining us recently, again, this is the International Student Panel. We have wonderful staff that work with our global students as well as current students. And with that, last but not least, Armando from Brazil. If you can introduce yourself.
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Armando. I'm from a city called Fortaleza, which is in the northeast of Brazil. I'm currently a junior in the business school, and I concentrate in finance and ISAM, which is information systems and operational management. At Emory, I'm the president of the Brazilian club. I'm also involved in the exec board of two business school clubs. I'm part of Volunteer Emory, and I also am an academic fellow. And I think besides that, this summer I'll be working in Charlotte, North Carolina, in an endowment fund called Global Endowment Management. And what brought me to Emory, I think it was a lot of the prestige and quality of the education, but also the opportunity for me to have a liberal arts background, but get out of Emory with a business degree. What keeps me at Emory, I think it's definitely the people. I think you're surrounded with extremely inspiring people, and also people that are willing to go out of their way to help you. So that, I think that's it. I'm really excited to meet you all in the fall.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of meeting you all, what would be really fun is, aside from, obviously using the chat to ask your questions, is maybe using the chat to share a little bit of what city, what country, what time is it, where you're calling in from. That would be great and super fun for us to see. And as the students are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and actually go to some of the questions that you had previously submitted, so that we could go ahead and get those answered for you. So the first question was, international student life at Emory, academic and social. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Why don't we go ahead and start with some of our current students addressing that, and I'm sure our staff could also chime in as well.
I can start with that. So I'd say in terms of academics, obviously Emory is a top academic school, so the academics are fairly rigorous, I'd say. But one of the great things is that you really get to sort of choose what your semester looks like, because you get to choose your own classes, and there are lots of academic advisors available for you with whatever school you're in and whatever major you decide. So, you can choose how your semester and your 4 years are going to look academically. And in terms of social, socially, I guess. There's so much to do at Emory. I don't think I've ever had, especially when I was still living on main campus, I don't think I ever had an evening where there wasn't something going on campus. We have a lot, like we have so many clubs, so many cultural organizations, performance groups. We have the Student Programming Council, which has 2 weeks during the year where we have a homecoming week where there's a lot of events every single day and then a concert at the end of it. And recently it was Dooley's Week, which we celebrated virtually, which also has, again, lots of events and then a concert at the end. So there's always something to do on campus, but because we're located so close to the city of Atlanta, there's also a lot of things to do outside of Emory, which I think is a wonderful way to get used to, staying in a different city and also discovering all the great things to do here.
And to add on to that, I think international culture is really celebrated at Emory. As I mentioned, I'm the president of the Brazilian club, and we not only have Brazilian students in our club, we have also international students and American students being part of our club. And the fact that we have so many clubs that are devoted to celebrating each culture, I think each Emory student is able to explore these cultures. We have an international event in which we have many tables with foods from different countries. I think Frank is trying all the foods during the event, and we also have a international student welcome, which is orientation focused on international students and making sure everyone has goes through the right transition and is able to know everything that Emory is able to offer. So I think I think the international aspect of Emory is really celebrated.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. One of my favorite events from last semester was called Culture Shock. So a lot of the cultural groups on campus did like dances or singing or like performances, and then afterwards they all had tables, like what Armando was saying, with food on, and so you basically got to be immersed in like the cultures of a lot of different countries. And then the international student welcome, I only obviously had it this year, so that was a big thing for me. I think it was really important to have time dedicated just to international students to help you settle in. You have like your own little family, so you have friends straight away, and they do things like take you to Target to get stuff for your room and things like that, and there are information sessions, and that really helped me to feel like I had a place here before all the American students arrived for general orientation. I felt like that focus on international students really helped build like the foundations of a social life that is then like explored more throughout the year.
Giselle, do you want me to, I can talk just briefly about advising if you want to.
That would be great.
Fall under here. Okay. So since this is our area and Jason can chime in, I'm sure that I will leave out a few important facts, but we are going to be doing video advising appointments using Zoom very much like this during the summer. I think it's about 3.5 weeks starting in the middle of July. You'll be signing up for an appointment with Jason or me, and we'll kind of walk you through academics at Emory from a very general perspective and help you get prepared for course registration. You may know that incoming students pick their fall courses the week before they come to campus, and you register in a very similar way to how returning students do each semester. And we will be giving you, hopefully, lots of helpful guidance to help you pick your classes. And as I mentioned before, Jason and I will be your general academic advisors throughout your time at Emory College. And what that means is we can help you with your general education requirements, help you to understand the categories, find classes to meet those requirements. Once you declare a major, though, then you get assigned a faculty major advisor. You can declare, actually, I don't want to go into too much detail, but either 2 majors or a major and a minor, or 1 major in Emory College, and you'll get an advisor for each one of those tracks. And those faculty members can help to guide you in the specific area that you're focusing on. Jason and I are more generalists. I wish that we could guide you on your major courses, but there are like 72 majors in the college, so unfortunately we can't be experts on every single one of those. We know enough about the basic ones, but we'll kind of refer you to the academic departments. But our job is to kind of give you kind of a team approach to advising so that you can get help from a lot of different places to make sure that you are finding classes that are interesting to you, that enable you to be successful in your classes, and complete your degree within the 4 years that we have set aside. So what did I forget, Jason? I know I left something out.
I think that's a great overview for the academic side. I just will add overall to sort of synthesize some important elements I've been hearing, just really from before you even enroll and arrive on campus, you already have the footwork for such a really robust network of support on both the academic and social side. So of course, as Frank mentioned, over the summer, you'll have a chance to meet us and start thinking about your course planning for your first semester. And then upon arriving on campus, we have, as Armando mentioned, the pre-orientation program, International Student Welcome, where just international students will arrive on campus and have a chance to get acclimated, learn and consume core information, and really also have a chance to meet a fantastic support network and friends through the academic fellows that are students, most of which are internationals, that really are there to support you. And then you'll have your academic advisor, a faculty advisor to help you as well. And then through residence life and residence life programming, there's just going to be such a great network of people to support you as you transition both on the social and academic sides.
Great. Well, thank you so much. One of the questions actually that came in from one of the students is, there's these great resources shared in regards to making that transitions. But the question is actually, what was the hardest transition for you as you came from your home countries to study in the US? What did you kind of, or maybe a little taken aback with, or realize that, I need to do some adjusting here, or this is new for me? If the students can actually share a little bit of their perspective. Yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, the hardest part was just being busy all the time. I wasn't really used to it as much, like studying in the UK. It's very focused on academics here, but like getting the balance between extracurriculars and my classes in first semester, I found quite difficult. Also finding, obviously you have to have time to hang out with your friends, go to events on campus. I also call my parents every day, so I have to fit that in somewhere and factor in the time difference. So I think like first semester, it was just a lot of me working out, okay, this is what I need to do with my time. And there were like over 500 clubs. So I was completely overwhelmed with, I don't know what to join. Like, I don't know much about this. But I kind of took the approach as not forcing myself to join too much stuff. And then this semester I joined or started a lot more clubs and like picked up more hours and like a second job. So I think like don't put too much pressure on yourself first semester, because it seems like there's almost too many opportunities that you don't know what to do at first. But obviously there are a lot of resources, like people talk a lot about time management and things like that. Everyone struggles with it, whether you're international or not. But personally, from like the academic school culture I'd come from, it was a bit of an adjustment for me coming to America, where it was a little different.
Thank you so much for that, Ruby. And for those of you that are joining us, this is the International Student Transitions Panel at Emory University. And you just heard from Ruby, who's one of our first year students from England. And so for a couple of the other students that are here, we have students from India as well as from Brazil on our panel today, along with staff from all over campus working with international students. But if our other students want to chime in about some of their transitions.
Sure. For me, it was a lot about the anxiety of not liking Emory and also feeling that I wasn't good enough to be at Emory. So I think my first days were a lot of like where I was trying to analyze everything and everyone to see if I was gonna if I was gonna be able to succeed at Emory. And I think that wasn't the best approach to have, to be honest. Because I was when I was researching Emory, I was like, there's inventing vaccines, people are selling $1 billion companies, and I'm not any of that. yet, but I was really afraid of not being able to do well academically and not fitting socially. But one event that really changed my perspective about Emory was the first day of classes, in which I was really lost. I had no idea where to go to find a particular building, and I asked someone, what is the location of the building? I'm completely lost. And instead of pointing me to the place, the person, the girl, well, I think she was a junior at the time, she took me all the way to the building. And I think it was really welcoming for me. It was really warm, and I really felt that people that weren't competitive, they were really willing to go out of the way to help you. And yeah, so I would say go to Emory with an open mind. If you're there, it means you deserve it. And everyone goes through a period of transition. For some people it's one day, and for others it's like 1 month, but be sure that you find a place, find a home at Emory.
Well, Armando, as somebody who remembers reading your application from cover to cover, I could say that you absolutely are worth being at Emory, and all of you that are here on this panel as students that have been admitted. You know, I think a lot of people don't really believe us when we say that we read your 40 plus pages in your applications. And Scott and Jatan and I can attest to the fact that we do, and your words matter. And the reason why you have been admitted is because we see your potential, and we see the hope of what you can bring to Emory to make this a better place, and to really just really improve the human condition, whether you're in finances or in neuroscience or in policy, or the arts. That's the beauty of all of your bright minds coming together in one place. So, but Armando, you are right. That is a feeling that happens to a lot of students across the board. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay.
I would say, going off of that, a lot of my anxieties came mainly from two places. I would say one was definitely socially. Being away from my family was really tough. So I have a 6-year-old sister who, when I left, she was only 4. And that was really tough to leave behind. Frank's laughing because he's met her a lot of times, and people like her more than they like me. But it was really hard moving away, and with the time difference, honestly, I wouldn't get a lot of time to speak to them. Like, we would be busy all the time because it would be night for me when it was day for them. And I would say I was also worried about like finding my community, about finding my friends. But something that really helped was definitely the international student welcome, because most of my friends, even now, are international students whom I met during the first few days of school, and we've stayed friends all throughout these 3 years. And now they're like a really strong network of people that I depend on. Even now through this move, they've been really incredible. And I think finding that community through the international student welcome and through all of the sort of programming that was available for international students was really important. And I guess another anxiety was definitely academically, I guess more professionally in a career way. None of my family members have done anything of what I'm doing. Like, no one's done research before. No one's really thought about like pursuing a PhD or working in biosciences. And so for me, it was a lot of speaking to my advisors and other students and graduate students and trying to figure out, well, what opportunities are there, and then also realizing that, you know, I am capable of doing all of these things. I just have to put myself out there. And that's a little bit hard, but I think now, as I'm almost ending my 3rd year, I do feel like you do grow a lot. And sometimes you might think that I think there's a lot of pressure to kind of, in the first month or two at Emory, you kind of feel like I have to make all of my friends and I have to be in all of these clubs and I have to do all of these great things. But then maybe some of the best friends that you make, you actually meet them only in your second or third year, and that's still okay. And so I think transition is different for everyone. And I think taking your time with it is really important.
Fantastic, thank you for that. And for the admitted students that are here, on the chat, if you could share with us, how many of you are actually going to be the first ones in your family coming to the U.S. potentially for your undergraduate study? We're really curious to see that. One of the other questions that it really kind of is a wonderful segue is for what comes after life at Emory. One of our admitted students asked, what are the job placement opportunities for international students at Emory? And a couple of you have had internship opportunities as well. So maybe if you could share a little bit about that. And then we'll also ask our panelists on how they've worked with students in that regard.
I think I can start on that. I think every year we have at least a couple career fairs at Emory, at which many companies come to the campus to recruit Emory students, and they're really, it's you can see by the conversations you have with the representatives of the companies that they really are seeking Emory students, and they really like to hire Emory students. And at the college and the business school, there is one person at least specifically to international students in helping international students get an internship opportunity or job opportunity in the future. In my case, I did my 2 summer internships in Brazil, but this year, as I said, I'm going to North Carolina to work in an endowment fund called Global Endowment Management. You have to do some bureaucracy in terms of visa, but besides that, Emory has all the resources you need, both to find the job, helping building your resume, practicing for interviews, and connecting to companies. And also the alumni at Emory are really helpful in terms of networking and getting you those interviews you need to get the job. But also in all the bureaucracy you need in terms of visa to be able to work in the US.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about like science more specifically. So I did my 2 summers. Last summer I was at Emory. I was a fellow at the Summer Undergraduate Research Experience, which is basically you get to work in a lab. Most of the time this is the lab that you're currently in, and you get to do your own independent project. You get paid a stipend, and you are given housing on campus. And it's basically just a 10-week immersive research experience where you're basically working full time. And at the end of the experience, you present your work at a poster session, which is really exciting. And before that, I did a sort of summer research program in London at Imperial College London, which was, again, it was a lot of public health. It was learning about public health and doing my own independent research project. And in the past year, I've been sort of thinking about what I want to do after college, and I, at least for now, want to pursue a PhD, which is a scary thing to think because I would be the first in my family to do that. And like, to be very honest, the research opportunities in general as undergraduate international students are low because a lot of research programs, a lot of grants require eligibility, which we're just not eligible for. But one of the great things about Emory is that they have their own grants and their own programs, which are available to all students regardless of your visa status and citizenship. So like I said at the start of the session, I was recently awarded the International Research, the Independent Research Grant, which is something, again, that anyone can apply to. And honestly, this is something that not a lot of universities offer. There are not a lot of undergraduate research grants available. So that's one of the great things about being at Emory, is that there are so many internal opportunities so that you can be just as competitive for whatever field you decide to go into after college.
Thank you so much. And there's no doubt you're going to get that PhD and do amazing, amazing things. For Meg and Amber, there is a question from our students, and it's asking a little bit to the point that we were just hearing about, is, how difficult is it for international students to secure internships, job positions in the US during their time as undergrads, but then also postgraduate study?
Sure, I can chime in about that. I think there's two different components to securing either an internship or a more permanent position in the U.S. after graduation. There's the immigration side of things, which our office, International Students and Scholars, assists with in order to help you F1 students utilize the benefits that are awarded through your visa status. And I can go into more detail about that. But there's also the component of things that students have talked about. What are the opportunities on campus that are going to build your resume? What are the resources on campus to help you learn how to write a resume or learn how to network or connect you with companies? And so I would say that the university as a whole, whether that's your academic advisor or the career center or other connections you might be making on campus or with alumni, to help secure positions. Our office does do some programming around connecting you with professional development, but our focus really is through the immigration component of it, in which I can briefly talk about. As an F1 student, you are eligible to work on campus as soon as you arrive on campus. And so it sounds like a lot of our students on the panel have been really utilizing some of those on-campus employment opportunities to start building your resume through on-campus positions, whether that is working in an office or the library or working in a research lab. There's a lot of opportunities to start building from day one. From there, there's two main types of work authorization. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's probably not something that will be relevant right when you get here, but we have a lot of information on our website. You can go to isss@emory.edu. That's ISSS@emory.edu, and look under the student tab where we have information about employment. But to let you know, there are two main types of employment authorization for off-campus work. One is called curricular practical training, or CPT, and the other one is called optional practical training, or OPT. These are both benefits that are awarded to F1 students after they've been here for a full academic year and have declared a major, and it allows you to work in your field of study outside of campus, and a lot of students utilize those benefits. I think something that's really great about Emory is the fourth university that I've worked for, working with international students. And despite it being a liberal arts institution, there are a lot of opportunities within the curriculum to take part in internships and get that practical training. So you're getting the strong liberal arts education, but also opportunities for practical experience. And because of that, there's a lot of opportunities from an immigration perspective that you can use when you're a student here. I'm more than happy to kind of elaborate if there's anything more specific, but please feel free to explore our website and reach out to your international student advisor if you have questions. We'll talk a lot more about this at orientation or at the welcome.
Perfect. And Frank, did you want to say something?
in general, I think it can be a little bit more difficult for international students to find employment in the U.S. because if you want to stay longer than your OPT work experience that Meg was talking about, then you have to find a company that's willing to sponsor you in the H-1B visa process, which is really getting further down the line. And that can be more challenging because it does cost companies a fair amount of money in order to do that. But I do think one of the advantages of coming to a school like Emory is, I always joke, we're a top 20-ish school, number 21. But we are very well known in the US. I think that employers know that students that are graduating from Emory are getting a high quality education. And so the fact that you are a student at Emory opens a lot of doors for you, if that makes sense. And that's going to give you a leg up over a lot of students that go to, rankings aren't everything, I will say, put that out there, but people know who Emory is because we're right up there at the top. And that's going to help you a lot when you're out there looking for jobs. That we do have designated people who work in the business school and in the career center in the college to help you to find employment. A lot of it, though, I think I would say, and the students can probably back this up, does kind of fall on you. It takes a lot of work. My students who have been successful in finding jobs in the U.S. and good jobs have worked very hard. There are some really good tools out there to help you find jobs to apply to and internships to apply to, but it does take a fair amount of work. But we are here to support you every step of the way to help you to realize your dreams and find the opportunities that, Harika and Armando, and I know Ruby, you will, after your sophomore year, opportunities like that to help you get started with your professional career.
Great. That actually is a wonderful segue to a great question that, again, one of our admitted students posed, and that is, aside from getting some good tips from ISSS in regards to visas and all of that, what happens, if due to COVID-19, the coronavirus, where the students are unable to enter the U.S.? What are some tips? What are some things that we could share with the students to kind of help guide them if that were to be the case?
Giselle, I'll chime in again. I think right now there's a lot of unknowns, and really the next, I think, month to 6 weeks is probably going to dictate what the rest of the summer is going to look like. We are obviously monitoring the situation very closely, working with our professional development organization, as well as our contacts in the government, in order to get the latest information and making sure that we're posting that on our website and are able to share that with incoming students and current students, of course. With that in mind, we have heard reports that students are able to make visa appointments as early as June. And that is really on par with what is the normal visa times for any year, regardless of COVID-19. So I think that assuming that the situation is getting better or stable, I think that the visa situation should hopefully not deter students from being able to enter come August. It seems around the corner, but from a visa perspective, it actually is many months away. So we have a lot of time, and I know students, this is a very stressful time, regardless. But please rest assured that we are monitoring the situation. We'll keep you posted on what we know, but we are hearing positive things coming out of Department of State. In regards to travel restrictions, that is a very fluid situation. Again, I think once the situation alleviates itself, I'm very hopeful that there won't be any complications for students coming in. I will defer to Scott, if you don't mind, about if in fact there are any problems and in which a student cannot begin this fall, what would be the possibilities. But I can tell you that from an immigration perspective, things are looking more positive than I think may be reported at the moment.
Thank you, Meg. I'm happy to let students know the college, as we call it, and Oxford, both entry points to Emory out of secondary school, are studying that question now if you're not able to enter, what would the deferral policy be? What would the process be? Similar to Meg and the bigger picture with State Department, et cetera. The next month to 6 weeks, we'll know a lot about that, but Emory's position philosophically is to do everything we can to support the student journey to Emory, to Atlanta, and that may take a different shape over the next several months, but that would just be a new reality, not a impediment to being educated at Emory. So we'll keep you updated on what those policies are.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is that,
I was gonna say, just one thing that's been interesting about this whole thing is that, obviously moving to remote learning and closing the residence halls required us to be quite creative and how we can move forward. And sometimes, these bursts of creativity are forced by matters outside of our own hands. But I think if there's any silver lining in all this is, if for some reason some people couldn't come to campus in August, we have a lot of time to prepare. And conversations I know are already underway at the top levels of the university. I don't have any details to share, like here's plan A, plan B, plan C, but I know these conversations are occurring. And so, we're going to do our very best. One of the things that's come out of the meetings that I've attended, and Scott was there, Amber was there, is that our, I say, top goal is not to impede anyone's academic progress during this time, to allow students to continue to progress academically and despite these challenges. And so, I think just know that we are all doing our best here. I wish that I could say that I had a role in this. I don't really, but I might, coming down the pike when it comes down to the International Student Welcome, we're doing our very best to make sure that things can continue on as we have planned.
great, thank you. The most important thing is for all of you to stay safe and healthy wherever you call home, so that we could all be hopefully home together at Emory sooner rather than later. And actually that actually brings me to a question that was posed as well, and that is, for the students, what is the virtual learning environment feel like for you as you are all back home, I believe, and have made the shift from being physically on campus to the virtual education world at Emory?
I would say it's kind of strange. It's just something that we're not used to. I had like a big chunk of my classes was lab based, so I had to physically go and do work in lab, and that's been a weird transition because there are just some things that you can't do remotely, and that's just the reality of it. Other classes, we've Zoom, we have lectures on Zoom and professors post videos and assignments, and we have online exams, so they're almost like quizzes online. But I think something that has definitely helped a lot is that the professors themselves are really helpful, and that they've been very understanding of the fact that, now that everyone's home or not home, everyone is in a very different situation, and being in this situation means different things for different people. And so, I mean, personally, there are just sometimes when I can't complete my assignments on time because of a lot of reasons. And so I think like professors in general have been very understanding of that, and they really try to work with us to make sure that we're comfortable. And I would say also something that Emory has recently done is that we have sort of been given the opportunity to have now I'd say about a month to decide if we want to change our classes to pass-fail, which is that we don't get a grade for it. It's just a pass or a fail, which is really nice because it takes off a lot of burden of, having to work really hard because, and for academics. And that's, if we were on campus, it would be a different scenario because everyone signed up to be students. But then when now some people are back home, some people are in different time zones, a lot of my friends are still on campus because they don't have flights to go back home. And so there's a lot of different scenarios. And so the fact that Emory has given us, and also professors have given us so many options is really nice because we get to sort of focus on what's more important, and that's our health and our safety.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think pretty much all my professors have been really flexible as well. For a lot of classes, papers and exams I would have had after spring break have been cancelled, and they've just had to like rethink the syllabus a bit about how much grades are going to be worth. My English professor gave everyone like an automatic 10% of an A just for the pandemic because, it's difficult. A lot of people are gone home. I had to pack up all my stuff in like 4 days and fly home, and I was lucky I got a flight, and the time difference for me is 5 hours, which is doable. But most professors for me have made lecture optional, so they'll post the videos and you still have to do assignments online, but you don't have to physically attend. I only really have to go to 2 of my classes regularly, and that's only really because they're like 100% discussion based, which is a lot harder to do virtually. And like for one of them's a language, which is really difficult to learn by yourself. But even then, people are flexible. Like last week, my internet wasn't working for a whole day, and I had to use my phone mobile data to email my professors, and they were like, "It's fine, don't worry, as long as you catch up on the work." Everyone has definitely been very understanding with problems that people have. Like one of my professors read a lot of textbooks, and I'd rented all of them from the bookstore at Emory, and she told me I could just return them all because I can't really send them back from the UK. I don't want to take up space in my suitcase when I was flying home. And so she managed to get all of them online for free for me, so I didn't have to take any of them back. So it's little things like that. And a lot of professors emailed me just checking in. And I think it's obviously a horrible situation, but it has exposed like the kindness that a lot of people have, and how in these sorts of situations people are understanding and it can work even if it's not in like the conventional way.
Thank you for that.
I would just echo everything they said. I think they described perfectly the situation. And I would just add that it's a great opportunity. I think we have now a little bit more control of our pace, our education. And I think it's a great opportunity to kind of grow in terms of that, in terms of time management, and really being able to really pace ourselves in terms of how we go through the content of each class. But again, I echo everything they said. Professors are really flexible, and I think students as well are really like helping each other and showing that we're really part of our community.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Actually, to all of our students and all of our panelists, I just looked over at the time, and we have been talking for the past hour. All of your questions have been amazing. Thank you to all the students that submitted questions. While we weren't able to get to all of them, please know that we will actually be following up with you all individually to make sure that we address the questions that you submitted. And thank you so much from the bottom of our heart here at Emory for spending your time with us to get to know the community. This is a special place, and it was said from the very beginning, and I hope that you walk away from this session understanding that at Emory, this is a place where people matter and they take care of each other. And that's a really unique and kind of warm sentiment to have now more than ever. And I hope you got a sense of that in this panel. There will be a series of other webinars from faculty, from student life, from campus development partners that will be ongoing throughout the month of April for our admitted students. And you will receive updates to that every single either Saturday or Sunday morning. So be on the lookout for that. Your parents, your families, your guardians, as well as you are welcome to join that. And we look forward to seeing you in the virtual world and in full glory of the Emory campus in August and this fall here in Atlanta. Thank you so much for being with us and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.